At a really young age, I just was like, I know there's a better way. I'm really passionate about these days because it gets to the root of the problem and releases it from a cellular level.
When I came to your classes, you have this so interesting approach to yoga.
Connecting to ourselves so we can connect to others, and that can look different for every single person.
Now I know that you can just do what is suits you.
We don't release the stress. We just hold on to it, But if I clear my channels and shake it out and let go of it all, then I'm a good mom.
Welcome, Annie. I'm very excited to talk to you today. And before we start talking about yoga and somatic release, I really want to know about your background a little bit and how it all kind of shaped who you are and how it all bring you to the way of wellness and yoga and breath breathing. So,
yeah, I mean, I grew up in a family that didn't have the tools, to say the least. You know, my father was an alcoholic and unpredictable in all the ways and physically, mentally abusive. And I don't know, at a really young age, I just was like, I know there's a better way. There was something in my soul. I feel really lucky that something in my soul said, there's another way. And since then, like the day I turned 18, I left my house and I hitchhiked across the country to get away from my family and just started to go into work on myself, figuring out like, what is it that I can do so I don't end up like this? I didn't want to continue that tradition of treating people the way that they treated people and being that way. And so I just went into self-study and studied psychology and fitness and everything I could get my hands on, mindsets, because I knew that I could make a change. And then I found yoga. And when I found yoga, I was like, oh my God, I felt like I was coming home for the first time in my life. I was like, oh my God, like I'm home. I'm home with myself. And then I just kept wanting to go deeper, because I think when you feel like something's off in you and you want to get rid of it, like I know because I work with people all over the world that people just have this uneasy feeling about themselves and they don't know what it is. They know there could be more, there could be something better. And so that's when I found breathwork and somatics. And I feel like that's what I'm really passionate about these days because it gets to the root of the problem and releases it from a cellular level. So with it, we can live this amazing life like we live in Bali.
Yeah. Nice. Because for a long time, I tried yoga, and for me, yoga was only like asanas and sitting and meditating in silence. And this is why I was avoiding yoga as much as possible because I wasn't ready to be with myself for this time. And when I came to your classes, you have this so interesting approach to yoga where you bring so much freedom in your classes because you just tell people like you can do whatever you want. You can just lay and breathe all class. And so what is yoga for you?
Yoga is your relationship with yourself. And I think there's a lot of people, and I used to be one who liked to tell people what to do and think that we know more than like, do this and you'll be safe. Or, there's so much of this hierarchical teachings, and I don't believe that. I believe that we're all one. I really, truly believe that. And this journey is about connecting to ourselves so we can connect to others. And that can look different for every single person. And I really believe that if we just breathe, that's the yoga. We connect to ourselves and that's yoga. I don't care what you're doing. If you connect to yourself like that, however it needs to happen, and it's usually not from listening to somebody else.
Wow, that's amazing. Because I also control freak a little bit.
Yeah.
And I know what it is to have this idea in your mind that life has to be like this and you have to do like this. And even nowadays on the internet you have so much this is wrong, this is right, and everything, and you can get crazy and get so busy with and overloaded there's the information, and it's so nice to have someone that you can who can tell you that it's okay. You can do whatever you want and how you feel it. And just, it's important to know yourself and just listen to yourself. And because you mom of 3 and you look amazing. And like you do weights, you do yoga. And for me, I had this cliche in my mind. That yoga people, it's just like people from Ubud, for example. They like drink green smoothies, don't eat at all, and they just meditate. And this is yoga. So yeah. And how, like, who taught you this? And maybe like how
that's the persona of yoga. That's just like looking the part. I mean, spirituality is connection. It doesn't matter what you look like, doesn't matter what you eat, doesn't matter how, like how you live your life. Spirituality is connection and being kind to people. I've seen the most beautiful practices in people that look the part, but are just not very nice. And I've seen people who do not do one single asana and that are the most kindest, most generous people in the world. That's the spiritual practice. It's not about what you look like or what you eat or drink. I mean, of course, you want to make yourself feel good, but yeah. I think that it's part of the process too, though. Like we feel like, oh, if we just put this on, we can start to embody it. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I'm not judging it because I've been there before. I've worn the robes and the mala beads and the bracelets and done the veganism and I really do think that we fake it till we awaken, right? Not till we make it. We fake it till we awaken, and it's just part of the journey.
Yeah, it's a new phrase for me because I did like make it, like fake it till you make it. So yeah, and till you awaken, it's really nice. Yeah. Because me as a coach, like I also started somewhere, and I also like started to learning different stuff and learning about body. And I was this coach who like told my clients like you have to do only like this and no other ways. But now I'm like, when I connected to myself, now I know that you can just do what is like suits you and what is comfortable for you, and this is what gonna bring you where you want. Yeah. And okay, and about somatic release, and this is something really amazing because I had participation in some of your classes about breathing, so some of your workshops, which you do, by the way, every month here in Bali, and you also do it online. So what is it like? It's something really new for me, and it's amazing how it affects and how it brought all the traumas and helped me to just release. I'm sure it's a long way to go, but first workshop was just something unbelievable for me. What about that? Like, what is it?
That's a good question. I think it's so cool because it's really an ancient practice. It's written about, it's Kriya. It's actually a Kriya, which is written about an autobiography of a yogi. So it's an old practice. I call it somatic release so it's accessible to everyone because I feel like when people start to hear Kriya and Kundalini, they're like, oh. But it's also emerging. So like I like to merge science with ancient wisdom. Right? Because it's all the same. It's all pointing to the same thing. And we as humans, you mentioned this before, we're listening to things outside of ourselves, like technology, overwhelming information. We're bombarded with information. Do this, don't do that. And it's like so confusing. It's so confusing. And I don't know, I used to go to this store in America called IKEA. I don't know if you know this store. I would walk in and I would be so overwhelmed. I'd be like, I cannot decide anything because it's like, because it was too much.
I think it's just like 21st century era. But you have a lot of everything.
Too much. And I think what somatics does is it reminds us that we are the technology. One, first and foremost, that the information is not out there, it's in here. But what stops us from accessing it is the overwhelm. We're stressed. Like we live stressed over stupid things, over emails, over, doing a podcast, or over meeting somebody and greeting somebody or saying something. Like that's our stress. It's not a tiger chasing us. And we're still animals. And we've forgotten our animal nature. We've come into this, like I always say, humans are the most domesticated animals on the planet. We don't release the stress. We just hold on to it. And we wonder why we're flipping people off in traffic, why we're angry and driving, or we're angry waiting, because we have all this survival stress stuck in our body that has nothing to do with the current situation. It's old.
Mm-hmm.
And so somatics releases and completes the stress cycle that was never completed. It's that simple. So it starts to remove all the hormones of cortisol and adrenaline from the system. And when you get rid of all that, there's clarity. You're present because your mind's not tripping out here and regretting in the past. You just release it all and you're like, oh, I'm here right now. And that's really it. It's so simple, but it's just a little strange.
Yeah. Yeah, it can be because like it's something new and it's not like we just sit in and breathe in. It's just also how you allow yourself to be like really open. And because for people who doesn't know, you start with just some shaking and all the sounds and like animals, and if you do it in a group or even with two, or even like with yourself, I think if you're just gonna like in a closed area, you're just gonna start doing this, it's really weird. And yeah, like all of this, like what people programming, of course, like what people are gonna think, like, or you think of yourself, like it's weird for like the first time, but then you just start to open and you feel this release at the end. Yeah. And I also read that like body remembers everything.
Body keeps the score. Yeah.
It's like I think it remembers everything even when we wasn't born. And like when we were in our mom's bellies, also like all her traumas and all our like ancient traumas. So will like somatic release like help with this if you practice daily or like once in a while?
Layer by layer, right? It's like an onion. You're just peeling back the onion. You're releasing it. You know, there's this story of when the Tibetans were being invaded by China and they had this clay, they had all their spiritual texts and all their spiritual things. They were trying to get it out of China. And one of these monks, their responsibility was to take this clay Buddha out, and they would go at night, and they would take this. They were carrying this clay Buddha all together, and then when they would sleep, one of the monks would walk around with a lantern to make sure no one was coming. And one night he was looking, and he noticed something shiny on the Buddha, and he started looking, and he started peeling back the clay, and the whole Buddha was gold. It wasn't a clay Buddha; it was gold. And that's us. Like they used the clay to protect the Buddha so no one could see it. And we put that clay and that armor on ourselves to protect ourselves because we're so afraid of connection. We're so afraid of expression. But once we start removing the clay, that we're just pure beings, like a baby. A baby comes out so pure. And then we just, not even intentionally, but there is programming and that's not a bad thing, but we teach, right? And then sometimes those teachings put so much clay that we lose who we really are as free spirits. And this practice is just bringing us back to our golden free spirit.
Amazing. Yeah. I always been like teaching my clients and even my friends and my family that about this preventing like stress. So we have this culture, I don't know about other cultures, but we particularly have this culture where when we have this problem with health or just with psychological health, then we only gonna start to do something. And I'm trying to prevent. So even with like nutrition, with workouts, with everything. And is it like important to practice it daily? Not, I already know the answer, but I'm just like want your explanation of the idea of like this preventing the stress and preventing the trauma, just to practice this daily with like simple steps, not just go into workshops, but just what people can do to every single day with, and including to this like self-care, for example, to just like for 5 minutes, because everyone is busy. And me, like, luckily I have a lot of time to do everything at all. But I know a lot of people who has all this like work from Monday to Friday and they doesn't have time. So what they can just do, like simple steps, simple things to release.
Yeah, make it work for your life. I mean, if you just simply sigh, we've talked about this, like how important just, we do that 10 times, you feel better. And everybody has time for that. Or you're feeling like in transition, like I know I get stressed in transition. I have to get my kids ready for school. I'm like very calm, like, brush your teeth, let's do this. And then all of a sudden, 3 minutes before we have to go, they haven't done anything. And I'm like, I turn into a pit bull, I'm like, that's, yeah. And then I'm like, that's because I'm overwhelmed. And I'm stressed because of this thing called time that I have this attachment to. And if I just like, shake it off, or like turn on a dance song for like 3 minutes and just shake and just have fun or whatever, just whatever, go out for a walk in nature and swing your arms and move your body, but just move and breathe and let it out. That's it.
There is no like rules or like drills.
But you know how I feel about rules.
Yeah. Just me asking, like, for example, what people could ask, like, is there like any things I should just to be like to follow something, or
just do it. Just do it. I have a whole course online that has small practices, long practices, and shortcut practices where you can get your own routine together. It's called Rituals of Success. So it's a morning routine of how to start your day clear. And you can use it anytime, where you learn these small little practices that you can do anytime. Yeah. And one of the best things is, I'm launching a facilitator training program. My passion is to teach teachers because they ripple effect. I love working with students, and like I will never stop doing that, because the one-on-one and working with people who've never experienced this is just like, wow. It's just when people come up afterwards, like, oh my God, I didn't even know I could feel like this. It's like the most moving. It's really the most moving thing I've ever done, is like really connect with people. I don't have to talk to people about the weather. I get to really talk to souls. And that to me is just so rich. But teaching teachers,
next level.
Yeah, I would love you to take this back to Russia, and right? I'm teaching it to people all over the world so they can take it back to their home countries. We live in Bali. We could do breath work in this every day. And people come to me from other countries and like, I didn't even have access to this. All I have access to is antidepressants and medication. And so if we can just spread this.
Yeah, that there are a lot of ways to just, before you do something, you can't like go back, because it's a lot of effect of all this like medications and operations or whatever, like on your health, and you just can use this daily practice to help yourself. And you don't need money, you don't need anything, you don't need to go like to some fancy classes, or like, I don't know, you just have to decide that you have to release and you want to release, and that because I think like, does everyone has trauma in kind of way?
Here's the thing. I think we all have trauma that we don't really recognize. And even if it's not like some great trauma, people with the best childhood still have things that it's overwhelmed in some way. And it doesn't have to be big. In everyday life creates little micro stress that creates a big effect on the body. So, and if you don't have trauma, if you've cleared, use this work and then you connect to God's source.
Is it possible to just be free from all, free from all traumas?
I don't think I'm free from all traumas, but I think I have moments. I think I have moments where I'm so clear and so connected to universal energy. So when I'm feeling really great and I do this work, then it's like inner knowing of like, it's so clear. You're just a clear channel. Yeah. So I can't answer that whether everyone has trauma or not. I don't know. My experience is people need to let go of some things. There's something, even as a parent, like I already know, like I'm traumatizing my kids, even though I'm aware of it. I already know. I'm like, oh, we all do our best.
Yeah, because about kids, like I know it's hard sometimes where we just want them, and like for example pets as well, we want them to be comfortable for us. We want our like partners to be comfortable for us, and we have all these expectations in our mind because of not only because of us, but just we look at the like social media and the look of on our parents, on our friends, and we have all this like desire to like, even with the good intentions, we want them to be better, and we just can't to like traumatize them by all this like
pressure.
Pressure, and just even simple like no, or like don't be like this, don't be like ridiculous, don't
be weird.
Don't talk that loud.
Yeah.
How do you manage with 3 kids?
Well, I only have 2 little kids. I have a stepdaughter who's older and, married, and we're like sister daughter. She's actually like my mother. But my 2 little kids, it's a balance. My daughter's very free and I love her. She's just wild and I let her be wild. I don't know. I figure I just do my best. And I don't even know. Sometimes it's not great. Sometimes I'm like, other times I'm cool. But I just do my best. And regulating myself and making sure I'm in a good energy is the only thing I can do. When I'm in a bad mood, I'm overwhelmed, I've got too much on my plate, and then my kids are like, look at me, which is all they want is our attention, then I'm not great with them. But if I clear my channels and shake it out and let go of it all, then I'm a good mom. Yeah. That's all I can say is like, as a mother or as a parent, take care of yourself and you can take care of your kids.
It's true. You have to like put yourself in the first place, because myself here, and like for example from my grandmother, that's it's not good, not healthy to put yourself first. But I'm like, if I'm not putting myself first, how can I like take care of other people if I'm not feeling good, or like if I'm not happy, like healthy and everything? Like it's impossible. And how does like all this yoga and all this well-being way helped you with your relationship, not only like with kids, but just all in all relationship with your friends, with your partners, everything?
I think it just helps me be present.
Be present.
That's all people want.
Yeah, nowadays.
We want someone to just see us, understand us, accept us. And when we're present, we're really with somebody. And I think that's the biggest gift that we can give to humanity, is not being on our phones while we're talking to somebody, not being distracted, just the gift of presence. And I think that's what all this does.
Yeah, because by the end of the day, we only have like us, and we only have our memories. And it's nice to just have something except all this like small box where you just pretend, I think, most of the time. Because like me, like trying all this YouTube and everything, I compare with other people. Like I have this imposter syndrome, like that a lot of people out there, and what I can like share, what can I bring to all this.
A lot. I'm really excited, especially for your culture and your community. Like, I think this is a really powerful offering, and, you're of service. When you're doing this kind of work, you're of service. And when we're serving others, like that's the best gift we can give to humanity.
Yeah.
So I'm happy for you.
Really, thank you. Because I really want to other people know that there is something out there more than just, all this medications and because I had some, like, for example, problems with my health, with my like women health, and my doctors told me only like operation, only like knife, and will help you. And yeah, and when it's like about your future, about your kids, about like everything with your woman health, and I did everything I could. I did like everything, like except like all these operations, like health, nutrition, breathing. And when I did this like UV again, and she like asked me, "What did you do?" Like, and I told you like everything I could, and she didn't. She still haven't believed me because she's like strict with her view on things. And I think a lot of cultures like this, and a lot of people like this, that they have something they believe in, and they don't want it to, like this black and white mentality, and this idea that either it's wrong or either it's right. That's it. Yeah, and I really want to myself to learn how to communicate with myself and how to feel what I want, even like with food, because I have a long way with long relationship with food, and that I try to use this as just a tool to affect to my health. And I just understand that it's only about yourself. I hate all these courses for hundreds of people. They just tell you like, you should do this, you should eat this, and you will be like me. It's impossible. Like even with yoga and breathwork, it's because when I participated in your workshops, I heard like then people, some of them cry, some of them laugh, some of them like scream, and they have all these different outcomes at the end.
Yeah, we're all different.
It's amazing.
8 billion people out here with 8 billion perspectives and lives. And it's again, it's like meeting ourselves, like where we're at. There's no one size fits all for anything.
Yeah, it's true. Let's come back a little bit to somatic release. So how it, for your opinion, like different from other ways of releasing? Like, I don't know a lot, but just like how it's different from yoga, even for example, like, or from, I don't know, to all these cold plunges, or because it's in kind of ways.
Yeah, it's in the the biohacking kind of world. I think it's just another added thing. Like it's completely different because it's releasing. You're moving energy through the body. It works at a cellular energetic level. So I don't talk about this in the public so much, but I work with energy. And not everybody can get this concept that we're all energy, that we're all just, we're all frequency. And like when you really get that, then you understand why release works, is because you're releasing the frequencies that don't work, that you don't want anymore. It's like tuning into an old radio channel. When you change the frequency, you change what you're hearing. You change what you're viewing. And so when we can change our own frequency by releasing the heaviness that we carry, the anxiety, the frequency moves up the chakras into more of a service. And when you tune into that frequency, you just attract that all to you. Like it all just comes, like I attracted you to me because you're at that frequency, I mean, like attracts like, because we are magnetic, energetic beings. And I work with energy. And I think that's the difference. Is all this other stuff is like mind stuff. Like cold plunge is all about the mind. A lot of work with the mind, which I'm a big fan of. And I've been studying the mind my whole life. But I go beyond the mind.
Wow.
Into frequency. Because our mind, if we don't get beyond the cognitive mind, the thinking mind that loves problems and solving, this is where most people live. When we can get rid of that, like kind of close that off and go into the subconscious mind and the superconscious, the possibilities are endless. There's no A plus B equals C. That's so limiting.
Wow. Yeah.
Right? We are such expansive energy frequencies. Like, when you hear everyone's one. We're all one. It sounds so cliche. But Rumi said, we're not just a drop in the ocean, but the ocean itself. If we are the ocean, think of the power that we have. The ocean is powerful. And if we can harness our power, our frequency for good, I think that's what the difference is. So we use these somatic tools, this release work, so that we can channel and we can expand and create a better world for the people around us and that are coming after. I think that's the difference. It's beyond just a little like, oh, I can hang in the cold for 5 minutes.
Yeah, amazing.
But can you sit with somebody when they're crying? Can you hold space for somebody who just lost a baby? Can you be there for somebody who is just diagnosed with some cancer? Like, I think that is a real superpower.
Yeah, true. Sound like this. Amazing. How do you do online workshop? How does that? Because I will.
Yeah. Usually once a month I do an online workshop, like a breathwork and somatics class. But right now I'm focused on the teacher training. So I'm pretty busy with that. So, but I do master classes, free master classes, which include a practice, but it's really more about education and the actual practice. So yeah.
It's amazing that you educate while you not just like people come to you and on workshop and you just gonna tell them like, we're gonna do this and that's it. So you explain and with this what I use in my workouts, for example, when I explain to people, because I do some healthy like movements and for mobility, and for some people it's still like only squats and push-ups and that's it, what they know, and I don't blame them. It's just how they just knew about this and discover about workouts. But I teach something like over the squats and push-ups, and when I explain to people I see like this, this energy in their eyes, and they start to feel more the progress and the effect on their body while they doing like this weird exercises. So yeah, explaining
the why.
Yeah, why. It's true, because now you see like all these experts and the like Instagram, it's wrong and no explanation, and you just start to believe them in sometimes. But yeah, when you come back to yourself, it's like easier for you to know that you feel yourself, you know what's better for you. What is self-love for you?
Ooh, that's a good one. I believe self-love is just acceptance, wholeness, like understanding that we're all flawed. We all have our dark side, and that we make peace with that, and that we own it. So we own those parts of ourselves that normally that we like don't want anyone to see, the shame, the things that we're afraid of. I think self-love is just, owning those parts of ourselves. And not being afraid to share them, and just letting it be part of who we are versus that little thing in the closet that we're too afraid to talk about. And taking care of ourselves. Self-love is taking care of ourselves.
In so many ways. Not just because for me, before it was like self-care, like I do mask.
Yeah.
I wash my hair.
Yeah.
And that's self-love. Yeah, but on the different levels. A couple of months ago, I discovered this idea of self-confidence and self-worth. And now I'm like trying not to be not so much confident, but just to love myself as who I am, because I have all these perfections, and every day I gonna be better than me like yesterday, and it sometimes gets crazy and so busy. Then you're never enough for yourself. And this breathing techniques which you teach also help me to let this go, this idea of self-perfection and that I'm not enough, because we all enough already. Like I heard somewhere that it's like one chance in a lot of times that we born, that happened, and we have to like, I don't know, accept that we already miracle and in this world, and we can.
I mean, could you imagine saying to a newborn baby, "You're not enough"?
Yeah, impossible.
Right? You look at this newborn baby, and you're like, "Oh, you're not enough." But we do that for ourselves every day.
I know, it's hard. Thank you for you. Thank you for your impact on this yoga, somatic release, and all this well-being life. I think because you do so much, and I'm sure that a lot of people are so grateful for your job. And where people can find you, where can they work with you?
You can always find me on Instagram at amkazing is my main channel. I'm going to be inspired by your YouTube and start updating my YouTube. I'm so lazy on the YouTube, but yeah, most of my work I get through Instagram and online, and then obviously in person in Bali, but you can always reach out to me through Instagram and YouTube in the future.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you
so much.
Yeah. You did it. You did it. That was great.
Thank you.